It's time for the Zeitgeist, your trends tested with Ollie Peart.
Hi Ollie, how are you?
I'm good because I'm sitting in the sunshine, which is rare for this country in spring.
It's nice, isn't it?
And we are once again sitting in a London square, which is sort of triggering in me the Pavlovian response now of, are we going to go and get a gourmet sandwich?
Yes.
But we're not.
We're not.
We're here to talk about plants, which is why we're in a garden. But first up, can we just say, we've never done this before on the Zeitgeist, as far as I'm aware. We've just noticed a trend just by happenstance.
Yeah. And this is actually really cool. This bench has got like a little, what looks like a Wi-Fi symbol. And I put my phone on it.
Boom!
My phone charges.
It's a smart charging bench. And the thing is, if someone wrote to us and said, can you investigate the trend for smart benches, we'd say, no, that's ridiculous, and there's probably not that many of them.
Yeah, we'd send an abusive email back, probably.
We would hold no truck with that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet, because we've just stumbled across a smart bench, I mean, it feels like the future, doesn't it?
I feel like doing bench reviews, Ollie. Go around London, best benches in London.
Like an idiot savant, you may have just inadvertently stumbled upon the thing that will finally monetize our YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the next development is. Cup holders, maybe. I don't know. Air conditioning.
I would love a bench with cup holders and air conditioning.
That'd be good.
We are here in a garden for a reason, which is that we're talking about plants, because man fan Kate in Hitchin wrote into us last episode to say that she cannot get an allotment where she lives, and she wants to know, should she get a smart garden? She wants you to test the trends for smart gardening. So first up, what's a smart garden?
Well, a smart garden really is a hydroponic garden.
Oh, that's as clear as day. Thanks.
Yeah, well,
Right,
I'll
see you
explain.
next month.
Bye, everyone. Yeah, essentially what it is gardening without soil. If you haven't got space for a garden, like Kate doesn't, or doesn't have the allotment space or whatever, you can get this hydroponic setup which comes with everything you need to grow without soil. So you can grow inside, including the sun, because it has LED lights which simulate the sunshine.
And is the stuff you're growing edible? Because if you've grown it without sun or earth, that feels like something I don't want to eat.
Yeah, you could feel that way. No, there's several different ways you can do it. There's different types, but I'll talk about the main one that you sort of get off the shelf. You can kind of buy these things in Amazon. You have a big tray of water, big reservoir of water, and a little pump in there. With the kit, you'll get sent 2 bottles of nutrients.
Yeah.
One contains the nitrogen that plants need, and the others contain some other nutrients that plants need. But they come in 2 bottles, and you mix them up, pour them in the water.
Was this exciting? Did you feel like a chemist?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like gardening.
No,
right?
No, it feels like science.
You have these little sponges.
It's like a kid's science kit, what you're describing.
It's exactly like a kid's science kit. You have these little sponge plugs. You put your seed in, you turn it on, and then the light, which sits above it, just turns on, and then you just sit and wait.
Well, hold on. I bet you had to choose your room carefully, didn't you? What was the advice on that?
So long as your house isn't freezing cold, you can put it anywhere.
Where was it? Yours?
Put it in the kitchen.
Okay, how big is it?
So it's about 40 centimetres wide, something like that.
Oh, okay.
And then like 20 centimetres deep. It's quite small.
Yeah.
And it maybe had like, I think it's got about 15 plugs in it, so you could plant 15 seeds. I say
so
plant.
What does it look like a sort of tray?
Yeah, a deep tray, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's probably a couple of maybe 3 or 4 inches deep.
With electric lights above it?
Exactly.
Which is battery operated, so you plug it in?
No, you plug it in.
Okay.
Because it needs to be plugged in for the pump, because that's the other thing that plants need. They need oxygen. You haven't got the soil, so you need oxygen. That's what the pump's for, which comes on an intermittent timer, and it pumps it. And then
It's a bit like a fish tank, I guess, in that regard.
It's very much like a fish tank.
Freaks me out, that.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like that's not how fish are supposed to live, is it? Like, I look at it and I think, what is going on here? Like, how am I manufacturing air for these fish through electricity? Like, it just feels wrong.
I kind of know what you mean. I think some people probably would feel a little bit like that. Like, this is too artificial. Why am I growing plants in this way? But fundamentally, it's giving the plants exactly what they need, just minus the soil.
We live in the world of the charging bench. I need to get with the programme. So how does it work then?
The sponge basically sits just in the top of the reservoir, and that absorbs the nutrient-rich water, and then it keeps the seed nice and moist.
And the seed grows out the sponge?
And the seed grows out of the sponge, exactly. And then as it grows its roots, they'll descend down into the water. And you can take the plugs out, and you'll see after a couple of weeks, you'll have like so many roots. It's quite weird, actually.
Yeah.
You're basically looking through what you'd see in the soil, and they're just sort of like resting in this water. And you have to keep it topped up with the nutrients sort of every couple of weeks, and you'll have to top it up with water because, of course, the plant's using the water.
Did your daughter enjoy this?
She did, actually. Yeah, we did a tomato plant, and that was like her plant. I was like, you look after this one. And planting it was really, really easy because you didn't have to get muddy or anything like that. Didn't have to take it outside and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can literally pop the seed in, put a little cap over the top for the seeds before they become seedlings, and then let them grow.
I mean, I read all these things about how gardening captures children's imaginations, My kids actually do really like it.
Yeah,
Our house
yeah.
backs onto a field, so we are lucky that we can literally just go and commandeer a bit of patch that isn't being grown on by the farmer and just plant something in it and see what happens.
Do they know?
What, the farmer or the kids?
The farmer.
The farmer doesn't know until now. He's probably coming round to my house to lynch me as we speak.
Yeah, he's going to get you.
It's only like, 2 foot of
half
ground.
an acre.
Anyway, the point is, my kids actually do love it, but I think back to my childhood and I couldn't have thought of anything more boring than gardening. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like the romance of you take a plum stone and you put it in the ground and then a plum tree is going to be there in 2 weeks' time. Not get a seed, wait for 6 weeks and you might have something and it'll probably be crap. I just didn't have the patience for that.
Yeah, that view on it is as if you're putting the seed in and then staring at it for 6 weeks.
Yeah, I
You're
wanted
just
to be
not.
entertained.
My daughter's really into
Good.
gardening.
No, I'm saying
And I think actually that the hydroponics, the smart garden way, is quite
it's
a good
faster.
way. It's much faster.
Yeah.
Well, it feels much faster.
Yeah.
And I did actually do a test. So I got one of these hydroponic setups and I planted the same tomatoes but in pots. And I've got a greenhouse, quite lucky to have a greenhouse. So I put them in the greenhouse and then I put these ones in the hydroponics. And the hydroponics, I'd say, were probably twice as fast.
Wow.
Something like that. So it is quite a lot faster. So if you're looking for instant results, that's what you want.
And did you feel like you were part of a community with this? Because nowadays this stuff, it probably has always existed, right? Something like this, but it would have been like hardcore hobbyist stuff if you had to buy a magazine from W.H. Smith about it. Whereas now I guess you just type hydroponics into TikTok to you and there was loads of help.
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember Dick Strawbridge? Do you know that guy, the massive tash?
Dick Strawbridge?
Dick Strawbridge. He does a programme called Escape to the Chateau.
Right.
Anyway, the guy's a civil engineer, and years ago, I'm talking like probably 15 years ago or whatever, and he did a book on like self-sustainability and all this.
I was ringing about his whole family was in the programme, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he, in that, talked about how you can make your own home hydroponic setup.
Oh, he's got a fucking chateau. Ridiculous. This is for people that live in apartments. What's wrong with the man?
And I've got that book, and it's really interesting how he does it. But in terms of accessibility, it's not, who wants to go and sort of start cutting drain pipes in half and like creating their own pump and making sure they've got the right
right, so
voltage.
you did it from scratch.
Yeah, from
Okay,
scratch.
right.
And then you mix your own sort of nutrient-rich water and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, what's happened is the technology has become super accessible to the point where some of the smart gardens have an app that you can connect to, so you can sort of like monitor and see how the plants are doing and that kind of thing. Most of them aren't that sophisticated, but you can spend anywhere from sort of 50 quid, which is the one that I got, right up to like hundreds and hundreds of pounds for these little tabletop ones.
Do you think it would be useful to monitor the soil, though? I sometimes wonder with this stuff that's smart connected. It's like, it's interesting information that my plants are dying, but if I'm not there, I can't do anything about it anyway.
It's a bit like the smart thermometer we did when we were doing air fryers, right? It's like, really how much of that information do I need aside from the fact that it's cooked? Do I need a second by second graph readout and that kind of thing? No, but if you are more sort of technically minded, like that's kind of stuff I quite like. That nerdy stuff is like, oh, look at my plants, they're growing this much.
I
Like,
can
this
see
is
the
what pH of it is,
experimentation,
yeah.
like with your crude. Let's do one not in a hydroponic garden and one in a normal garden. I guess like people who get into the detail.
Yeah.
Oh, they grew much faster when I added 10% more, whatever. Okay, so is it a thing that like there's loads of resources now?
Well, this is the thing with the community side of things. It's really interesting because one of the things that is growing is the use of hydroponics for cannabis growing.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not, Ollie. Man.
Untraceable electric growth of plants, and people are using it for drugs. The fuck?
Yeah, but this is the thing. You think about it. You got tabletop setups. Not much energy being used. Why not grow your own?
Why
grow
not?
Your own stuff.
Yeah,
and
there is an answer to that probably on a government website.
Yeah, absolutely is. Yeah, but there are companies that specialise in nutrients. Which this is not illegal to sell, but it's quite clearly
specifically
nutrients
for cannabis,
that is for cannabis. I mean, some of it's called literally called bigger buds and things like that. That's what it is, and it's sort of think of gardening products but marketed in the same way as vapes. It's that kind of style. That's exactly what it's like. And there's a whole community around that, but they'll talk about sort of like growing chili plants or that kind of thing.
And so, they're using code words, are they?
Yeah, just won't openly say, I'm going to use this to grow cannabis and post it online.
Yeah.
But there are a few hashtags on Instagram which will be cannabis grower, which,
it's fairly on the table, isn't it? Yeah.
Fairly obvious. Actually, when I was sort of trying to find hydroponic suppliers, quite a lot of them, I mean, one that I found is called Space Hydroponics.
Right.
Work that one out. And literally, that their whole reason for existing is to help cannabis growers. But I mean, some of their nutrients could be used for growing your tomatoes if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, you actually, by growing tomatoes, were really helpful, to borrow another vegetable metaphor, fig leaf, weren't you, for what they're really doing? Like, they could point to people like you and say, no, people growing tomatoes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, what they're doing is not illegal. You know, they're horticulturalists.
Yeah.
What you grow is up to you.
Turn on, tune in garden company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But we're selling tomato plants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We asked you to grow some stuff.
Yeah.
You have an Iceland plastic bag with you. That doesn't bode well.
I've bought you some plants, actually, Ollie. These are gifts for you, which have been grown hydroponically. So, got 3 plants for you. And what I did with these, so I started these off in the hydroponic setup, and then I had to transfer them over to soil, simply for ease of transport.
And that was easy to do?
Well, actually, that was slightly frustrating because you have the plugs that you have, the sponge plugs. So obviously the roots get totally ingrained in all the sponge plugs. So you have to kind of get the sponge off.
Yeah.
And it can be a bit just annoying. But it was kind of fine.
Wow!
That is a tomato plant.
You grew that in your house?
I did. That's a tomato plant
in
for you.
not soil.
In
that
not
is
soil.
like a space age thing you've just given me.
There you go.
So it's a tomato plant.
Space age thing. It's a tomato plant.
No, because I understand the context.
Yeah.
You're right. In and of itself, it's a tomato plant. Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose that's what's remarkable about it, isn't it? It looks like a normal tomato plant.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it's a baby. I should say, for the benefit of people listening, it's like a foot long. So, how long till it's going to actually, give me
a few weeks, I think. You need to look after it. You might need to put it in a slightly bigger pot to get a bit more growth, and then you can look online for this. But when you get these little sort of growth bits off the side, so you'll see like a fork, if you like. Well, you will.
You get these growth bits off the side. You could have googled the word.
I'm waiting for the call from Gardeners World.
Yeah.
But when you start getting these little forks coming off, you can just prick those off, and then you'll find you'll get more flowers. And then you'll get the little yellow flowers, and then they'll turn to tomatoes, and then you'll eat them, and you go, "Oh, that's disgusting."
Yeah.
Oh, that's delicious.
I can see a fully fledged. Is that a lettuce leaf coming out?
No, we'll come to that one last. Here we go.
Ooh,
is
that basil?
Nope. See if you can guess.
Oh, is it some sort of greens, like a spinachy thing?
Miles away.
It's not spinach.
Nope.
It's not spinach, and it's not basil.
Nope.
I don't know what it is.
It's a pepper.
Peter Piper picked a hydroponic cannabis-infused pepper.
It's not cannabis infused, although I could try and come up with some hybrid version, maybe.
I'm going to put it on the smart bench and see if it reacts.
Yeah, it might
maybe it'll be like Audrey too.
Yeah, amazing. Imagine, it'd be so good. But yeah, this is a pepper, so you're starting to get some little bits going on here, little flowers. So they'll flower, and then you'll get some peppers.
I'm impressed. So you've already succeeded, by the way.
Oh, good. Okay.
Just not going to end on this by saying how pathetic this is. This is great.
I'm quite enjoying the guessing game. So you see if we can guess that one.
Okay, so I'm touching the leaves, and they're sort of a bit furry.
Yeah, careful, because there's also some little prickles on this one, which you can see down here. This one will require a fair bit more care.
It's not one that looks edible. So I'm guessing that the thing that's edible will grow on it, like the chili plant, rather than the leaves itself. Mm-hmm. But I could not tell you.
No, you're right there. Yeah.
Is it aubergine?
It is aubergine.
Yeah, I thought it was stocky and firm.
Well done.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh, that's a good guess.
That could birth an aubergine.
You're going to need to look after this one a fair bit. I actually took these out of the hydroponics about a week ago, and since I've taken them out, they haven't really grown very much.
Right, okay.
They've sort of stagnated, but they have been in the greenhouse. Having said that, it's been quite warm the last few days, and they have kind of had a little bit of
Can I
life
just
into them.
take these out of the pots and stick them in the field at the back, do you think?
Because
they're kind of like a bit mature, aren't they?
You could, but I mean, you'll see. this has literally only been out for a couple of days. The pepper, and it's already started to be nibbled at.
Yes,
so you know, little bloody pests. But that's the other thing about hydroponics, which is really good. It's inside. You do not have that issue.
Don't get the caterpillars.
And they look. Honestly, this is just after a few days just being in the pots. The difference is quite stark. I mean, there might be a little bit of shock because they've moved from the hydroponics to soil, and getting used to that change or whatever. But you don't have any of the pest stuff. You don't have to use pesticides, and it is actually really good for that. Like, if people who don't have gardens genuinely want access to fresh produce, let's just leave the cannabis growers to one side. Yeah. It is a great way to do that. The problem comes if you want things like more hardy vegetables and stuff like that. Like carrots, you're obviously not going to grow carrots.
Why obviously?
Well, it's a root vegetable.
So anything below the sponge is not going to work.
Below the sponge is not going to work.
Yeah.
But you could grow cherry tomatoes, and they would actually start harvesting some kind of fruit on there. But it's good for like lettuce.
It would have to be for fun, though, wouldn't it? It's not really like the cost that you've sunk into this. You said it was 50 quid. then you're buying your extra sponges. It's all the time.
Well,
it is an alternative to the allotment.
No, but
it's not cheaper than going to the co-op and buying a packet of cherry tomatoes, is it?
Well, I would say if you want to do this, my advice would be don't do what I've done and grow things like peppers and that kind of thing. I mean, it's quite useful for germinating seeds. That's quite handy if that's kind of what you want to do, germinate them quickly and then get them out into the soil. But if you get one, grow lettuce leaves, like light lettuce leaves, salad leaves, and herbs. And then
you've just got a live herb pot, basically.
Like basil.
Yeah.
Then it's like a live herb pot, exactly, and you can kind of manage it and keep it going and going and going. Like, basil's so expensive in the supermarket, and it dies in about 3 seconds. So if you've got fresh basil in your house...
Fresh mint tea.
It looks quite cool.
I'll be up for that.
Well. And it does look good. When it's on your kitchen side and it's fully flourishing, it looks really good. It's really nice to have a bit of green in the kitchen.
So...
Go on.
Have you left it plugged in? Are you going to carry on hydroponicking?
I am going to carry on hydroponicking.
Hey!
How often do I say that I'm going to carry on with something?
I mean, probably 50% of the time, but it's always a lie.
Say 30, but whatever. Yeah, I will keep doing this. It's really good. It's really fun. It's nice to see like the development each day. You come down, you make your coffee, and you see how much it's grown. Literally overnight, you can see it, particularly when they're little seedlings.
Even despite the fact you have a garden and live with access to green space.
Yeah, it's kind of inspired me to do more out in the garden, which is nice.
Well, in a way, you can just keep the drugs in the garden. Flip on his head. Grow basil in the kitchen, marijuana in the garden.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Ollie. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Would you like to know what your challenge is for next month?
Yeah, go on, hit me.
It comes from Xanthi in Bradford, who says, there are loads of sleeper train services launching across Europe. But are they actually cramped and awkward to sleep on? I would like to challenge Ollie to show me how to do sleeper trains right.
Okay. I have actually been on a sleeper train, but many, many years ago.
Same. Yeah, probably 15 years. I went with Helen Zaltzman, actually, to film a video.
Yeah.
And, we did not have to work hard to make that seem like a funny scenario.
Yeah.
It was cramped as fuck.
Yeah, it was. Where was that one?
We were going to Edinburgh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So mine was in Vietnam, and it was 36 hours. And that was tremendously horrible.
Yes.
I hated it.
But the golden age of the sleeper train, the romance of the sleeper train, that's supposedly what's coming. Belmont, I think, have bought one, haven't they? They do those big luxury Ritz-style...
Yes, you'd be up for that.
Yes.
Like, if it comes with the duvet and some nice silk pillows or something, that'd be lovely.
Do you know what? I'd like to come with you.
Okay.
Because I don't believe we've shared a room for 4 years or so. We've shared a sauna since we last shared a bedroom.
Yeah, we have shared a bed in the past, I'm pretty sure of that.
So let's bunk up. I'd be interested to know what it's like in an intimate environment with you throughout the night.
No, it would be interesting, yeah.
So find me a glamorous destination. Basically, can you blag me a weekend away? That's what I'm desperate for.
Okay, glamorous destination. All right, I'm on it, Ollie.
And we will report back next month from the sleeper train. Up next, you will meet the couple who will change the way you look at your local hospital. But first, it's time for our record of the month, and it's this by Matt Berninger of The National. It's from his second solo album,